G'day guys, today we're going to be covering how to draw a Scarecrow just in time for Halloween. Make sure you watch the whole video because I've got a couple of tricks up my sleeve today. You're going to need a pencil, paper, an eraser and a Sharpie to go over your sketch with. Let's go! Let's get started. But first, if you want to learn the fast and easy way, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell. Let's begin! Now where do we always start? We start with the head. So with your pencil, let's just do some light strokes. Try and make as good a circle as you can. Okay, so this is going to be the head. Okay, don't worry about the lines being a little bit rough because this is just being done with a pencil. So we're going to rub this out a little bit later. And then divide it into two semicircles, like this, with just a line down the middle. Then just draw an oval on each side. Roughly around the middle, maybe slightly higher than the middle of each semicircle, and then a smaller oval inside, just like that. So I'm going to do it again. A tall oval like this. These are the eyes, and then just inside, another oval just pointing inside. Okay, so the eyes are kind of pointing inwards like this. Now I'm just going to draw kind of a teardrop shape for the nose. And now I'm going to draw a big smile. But on each side there's going to be like a rounded cheek, okay? So just a curve like this, and then a smiley mouth, and then another curvy cheek on the outside. Kind of makes the cheeks look a bit chubby and happy. I kind of like that look. So now we're just going to draw the frame for the rest of the body. Now scarecrows are usually stood on kind of like a T-shaped piece of wood. So let's just continue down the line that we drew in the middle of the face. We're just going to gently draw a straight line that goes down like this. Quite far down, so it looks a bit like a lollipop at the moment. And then we're going to come back to here and we're going to draw a straight line, a straight horizontal line that goes all the way from the left to the right. Don't make them quite as long as this line. If I were to draw like so maybe like half the length. So these are the arms, okay? Now let's just return to the head briefly. We're gonna give him a hat. So let's start out here and just draw a line that curves right over the left eye, like that. Make it a little bit bendy and flick it up at the sides, like that. Then when you get to the side, curve it back just a little bit and stop. And do the same for this one up here. Just curve it back a little bit and stop before you get to the head. Why are we stopping before we get to the head? We're going to draw in some hair, and the hair's made of straw. So you can be a little bit creative with this. I'm going to make mine have quite long, sticky, outy hair like this. Just draw in some straw on both sides. But you can have yours have any kind of wild hairstyle you like. It is straw after all. You can make straw look however you like, really. And now there's a little bit of hair on the inside in this area and this area as well. So we're going to add that in before we forget. So I'm just going to add some here, some little strokes there. Maybe one going over the eye a little bit, because why not? It doesn't have to look very neat. It is a scarecrow. Maybe he hasn't combed his hair in a long time. I'm just going to add a little bit more hair on this side because I think it looks a little bit uneven. Again, at this stage it's really flexible because we are just drawing with a pencil. We can go over this later with a Sharpie and keep the lines we want to keep. I'm just going to draw the top of the hat now. So it just kind of curves in at the top. We can see the hat's at an angle, right? Just because it looks a bit more interesting. I didn't want to draw it straight across. And now we're just going to draw a band across the hat that's level. It just kind of meets the top of the guideline that we drew for the head here. Okay, so that's the head almost done. I'm actually just going to add a circle here and a circle here. He's got a blush kind of painted on his cheeks. So that's our friendly scarecrow head done. Now just under the head we're going to draw the bit where the head attaches to the body. Now a lot of scarecrows, the head's just kind of a bag stuffed with hay put on top of the body. So I'm just going to draw basically what's the bottom of that bag. Just like that. It's like an upside down bag. Now, from here, we can start drawing the arms. I'm going to begin here. I'm going to just draw gently to the left, and when I get to the end of the guideline I drew, go down. I'm going to go down a bit further than I did at the top, so this side's a little bit longer in my case, but that might not be the case for you, depending on where you drew your guideline. But either way, you want to try and get this sort of result. Just a long arm, gets to the end of your guideline, and comes back. These are his sleeves of his sweater. I guess he's wearing a sweater? I don't think it's officially a sweater, but it is to him, I suppose. And then we'll just come down and we'll draw the rest of the torso. When you get to roughly just before halfway of the length of this guideline here, just bring it in and go across. So you don't want to make the torso too long. And then we'll just go up to the other arm. Now a little belt, a very narrow belt made of rope. And we'll just add the bottom of the top of his sweater, of his t-shirt, whatever you want to call it. A bit more like a tunic, really. So now what we get this kind of look here that the belt is pressed in, okay? It's like it's squeezing his waist, and that's good. It makes him look a bit more like a Scarecrow. Makes him look like he's kind of holding the hay inside here, right? So try and get that pinch look going on. It looks really cool. Now let's go for the legs. So just underneath the bottom of the tunic, I'm just going to go a little bit further down, and then come across. But I'm not going to get to my guideline. Before I get to my guideline, I'm actually going to come back up a little bit, then a line across for where the legs meet the torso, and we're going to treat that guideline in the middle like a mirror, and we're just going to draw the other leg in like this. So again, lots of little gentle strokes with your pencil, because we're going to go over them in a minute with a Sharpie, make it look a little bit better. Now, do you remember what we did with the belt here? We're going to do it again for the bottom of each leg. Now this look is pretty unique to Scarecrows, because they're only made of hay and straw, things like that. So I'm just going to do the same again like I did with the torso. Just a little bit coming out at the bottom of the cloth of the leg. Sorry. Now let's throw in some shoes. Why not? We don't want him getting his feet cold. So we'll draw some shoes sticking out. I'm just going to draw what looks like a baguette, just coming out from underneath this bit here. I don't really know what to call this, but I think you know what I mean. And we're going to do the same for the other side. Just like a big baguette for a shoe. Now along the bottom of each baguette, we're going to just draw another line very close to the original line we drew. That's going to be the sole of each shoe. And finally some laces. I'm just going to draw 3 curved lines across the top. And then at the end of each line, a small circle to show how the lace fastens into the shoe. That's optional. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. That's completely up to you. Now, he looks like he's floating in the air like that, doesn't he? His feet aren't flat on the floor. Well, that's good. We don't really want his feet flat on the floor, because the thing that's on the floor is the wooden kind of pole that's holding him up. So coming away from the heel of each shoe, I'm just going to draw a straight line that comes down, and then meet them across like this. And actually, just to give the impression that he's in a field, pardon me, I'm going to draw some grass on each side, and a little bit in front of it maybe. There we go. So if you just draw some spiky grass either side of the pole that's holding him up, maybe a few more little strokes down here, we can immediately get this impression that he's out in a field and he's held up by this wooden pole here. Now let's just return to the arms briefly. We haven't got any hands. You've got a couple of options here. But first of all, let's just do what we did with the waist and the bottom of his trousers, the bottom of his pants. Just going to draw in some rope, okay, and then again, just a little bit of cloth sticking out. He's not particularly well dressed, is he, this Scarecrow? Now, here come your options. A lot of Scarecrows actually have gloves on the end, just to make them look a bit more like a human. But you could actually just draw some straw. So I'm actually going to do both for you here. So to draw some straw, we're going to do what we did with the hair. Okay, so almost like some French fries. And try and keep it looking uneven. Don't make it too even, it'll look too neat. Scarecrows are anything but neat. So, or you can make it neat if you like, doesn't really matter. But just some French fry shapes sticking out, and try and keep them all at an angle to each other, you know, going at different angles. Looks a lot more interesting. Don't draw them straight like that. You know, it doesn't look very good. So just try and angle them out. So that's your straw option. That's really quick and easy, and you don't have to worry about it looking odd, because it's straw. It can take any shape you like, really. But I'm just going to hide that for a moment. I'm going to show you the glove version as well. So if you'd like to draw gloves on the end, let's start with a thumb. We'll just curve out like a really short, thick sausage. And then when we come back, we're just going to draw a little bump like that. And now we'll come away from around here, and a much bigger sausage this time, coming out, and then towards the wrist. And these are like, I've forgotten the name of the gloves that don't really have fingers. You can add fingers if you like, but I'm going to have mine without fingers. I've actually done a tutorial on how to draw hands. I'll just link that in the corner now in the card. If you want to learn how to draw hands, that's the place to be now. Hit that link and you can watch my tutorial on how to draw hands. That's great if you want to learn how to draw fingers. But if you just want to draw some little winter gloves like I have, go right ahead. It's your Scarecrow. Now, there's a few details he's missing. Do you remember when I said he's not particularly well dressed and you don't want him looking too neat? Well, we can fix that quite easily. Let's draw some patches on his clothing. So there's a square here. Okay, maybe a square here. Keep it interesting by drawing it at an angle. If you draw it straight, it'll look fine, like this one. It'll look fine, but if you draw them all straight, it just kind of doesn't look quite as cool as it could. So I'm going to draw one at an angle here, kind of going off the edge. Now, just to give them that impression that they've been sewn on, I'm just going to draw some stitching along the line. Okay, just little gentle strokes. Go off the edges of these squares. Okay, looking good. Or not looking good, really. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go over my drawing with ink. I'm going to go over the lines I want to keep, such as these ones here and these ones here. I'm going to ignore the guidelines, so you see this line across here, I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to ignore these. I don't want to draw over that with my Sharpie, or this one for that matter, or this. I'm going to go over the lines I want to keep with my Sharpie, and then I'll rub out the guidelines, and we'll see where it ends up. And there you go, a Scarecrow who's got something to smile about. Here's a question for you guys. How many Scarecrow characters can you name? I'm talking about movies, video games, cartoons. How many can you remember? Leave me your answer in the comments below. And don't forget, if you want to learn the quick and easy way and impress your friends while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe. Until next time.